Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Welcome to my Holly Jolly Christmas DIY and Decor series. Today's project is using this pallet sign. These are available at my local Dollarama store for $4 and they're really awesome. I love working with these. The one thing I want to do with this one is cover up the holes in the slats. So I'm using these garden stakes that I get in the summertime, and I always stock up on these because they're really fun and easy to use. So what I'm going to do first is just measure out the length that I need. I'm using my new tool. These are some miter shears that I picked up off of Amazon, and you can see that you can adjust the angle for your cuts. I just need 90 degrees for this one. Recently, I was sent a box of Star Bond glues. For this project, I'm going to use the medium thickness. I'm also going to use the Star Bond accelerator. What this does is make the glue dry super fast. So what you do is you put the glue on one surface and you spray the accelerator on the other surface, and when they are pushed together, they bond super fast, probably within 1 to 2 seconds. So I'm just going to put some dots of glue every inch or so onto my pallet. Then I will spray the accelerator onto the piece of wood and press the two together. Here's what the palette looks like with all of the boards put together. And now I'm going to give it a couple of coats of chalk paint. I am using a DIY chalk paint, and I like to use that specifically on raw wood because it dries super fast and it gives me really good coverage. If you're interested in that recipe, it's down in my description box. I'm going to be adding this little gnome to the sign, and I got this off of Pixabay. I'll have the link down in my description box. And what I'm going to be doing now is cutting out his hat and the different pieces. Now, learn from my mistakes. You do not have to cut out all of this. All I had to do was really take the piece of paper that I wanted his hat to be, which is buffalo plaid in black and white, and create a new hat and just stick it right on top. But I decided to make things more difficult than they really needed to be and cut him all out. This is the buffalo check paper that I'm going to use for his little dress or skirt or cloak, whatever he wears, and his hat. And I'm just going to be tracing out the pieces that I need, and then I'll cut them and glue them all together on a piece of cardstock. This buffalo check paper is one of multiple patterns that I purchased off of Etsy as a digital download. I will have that in my description box if you're interested. Here's my little guy all glued back together on a piece of thick cardstock paper. And what I'm doing here is just adding some Mod Podge to the back of the cardstock so it doesn't bend and warp. If you're putting Mod Podge on one side of a piece of paper or foam core board or cardboard, whatever, you want to put it on the other side because it won't curl. It'll end up laying a lot flatter. Originally, I was going to go with this cutout Christmas tree and just put a few little trees next to my gnome. This is something that I should have done, but as you do things when you're a crafter, you think, oh, maybe something else will be a little bit better. Well, better didn't always turn out right this time. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm taking the stencil part of this Christmas tree that I was going to be using as buffalo plaid, but I decided to try sponging it with black paint. A black Christmas tree, exactly, doesn't turn out the way I thought it would. This is how the tree looks with the gaps in it, and I should have left it this way because I like the look of this better than when I filled it in. I've cut out my little gnome and I'm going to glue him right next to the Christmas tree. I distressed the tree a little bit with some white paint. You can see it kind of looks like it's snowy. If I would have stopped right here, I think I would still like the sign, but I didn't stop there. I've already penciled in some letters, and I'm going to just be taking my regular black marker and going over the letters, and then I'll embellish them a little bit later to make them look a little bit thicker. I want this to be a nice clean and crisp sign. I'm not doing any distressing, and with this marker I'm going to make sure that I don't smudge anything with my hand. I'm writing there's no place like Gnome for the holidays. Before I go on, I wanted to let you know that this video is part of a challenge that's hosted by my good friend Donna from Creartive by Nature DIY and Decor. Donna is a huge gnome fan, and you'll see all sorts of them on her channel, so she's done a DIY and challenged us to create some with her. If you haven't seen Donna's channel, she does some amazing DIYs, trash to treasure, and she loves to use pieces of nature in her DIYs and decor. So I will have her link down in the description box along with the playlist link. I am sure you're going to be inspired by all of the cute little gnomes that are going to show up for the holidays. Now I'm just going to be adding some thicker areas for the word gnome and also for the word holidays. The smaller letters I'm going to leave the way they are because I want those two words gnome and holidays to stand out. So as I was doing the lettering, I kept looking over at that black tree with the red berries on it and decided that I really didn't like the look of it. But I persevered and kept going, and here is where I'm doing a little bit of thin shadowing on the letters to make them stand out and look more high end. This is something that I really love to do with my letters, so you'll see me do this quite often. So now I'm going to work on embellishing the sign a little bit more. I've got this black and white twine that I just love and finally was able to get some this year. And I'm just going to wrap it around the top and the bottom of the palette a few times and tie it off on the back. I also love working with these little pip berries. I love the red color for Christmas. I think they're just adorable. So I'm just going to hot glue some of them all the way along the string, and I'll do the same at the top. Take a look at that tree. It now has a buffalo plaid triangle on the inside. Let me know in the comments which tree you think you like better. The original one, just with the black and the distressing, the one with the buffalo plaid, or the metal one that's coming up. So I'm starting to use a Dollar Tree cookie sheet for some galvanized and metal looks. And this is one of them. I'm just taking the end of my Dollar Tree razor scraper and smoothing out some of the wrinkles, some of the texture. I don't mind some of those little dots on there, but I want to have it a little bit smoother. I folded my piece in half and I'm just marking off a triangle and then I'll cut it out. I'm going to use the Star Bond glue again to glue the metal onto the wood. Then I took some of those little extra pip berries and glued them onto the metal tree, and now I've created a tiny little bow as a tree topper. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm not a bow girl, but this just needed a little bit of a cutesy embellishment because it's a gnome. I mean, he's just adorable, so I just needed the tree to be adorable with him. Taking some additional twine, I'm just going to glue it on and make a little bit of garland across the tree. I'd like to thank Donna for hosting this challenge. If you like this kind of content, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Those two black arrows will show you exactly where to click. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I really appreciate your support. Bye for now.